I'm 71, and the day my wife died, I lost my routine, and it stole my breath before breakfast. Second mug, my hand froze. The kettle clicked, the fridge hummed, streetlight stripes crossed the tile. Too quiet. Under that mug sat a handwritten label, tucked flat like evidence. If you're younger, listen before you say later. If you're my age, sit with me. I set out 2 spoons, then slid one back, slow, again. Her chair stayed pushed in too. No one says my name first. I rinsed 1 plate, reached for the second, and met air. Just air. I kept the label under the mug, telling myself I'd read it tomorrow, the same tomorrow I used on her. I'll do the dishes, then listen. Comment your age and country, and one routine you keep postponing. Tonight I lifted the mug and saw the year 2012, and my fingers refused to turn it over. 2 nights later, I stood in the hallway with my keys in my fist, thumb on the lock button. Click. I let go. The kettle clicked behind me, stubborn as a metronome I didn't hire. The elevator chimed down the hall. I stared at the closed door like it might give me instructions. I had somewhere to go. I just couldn't remember who I'd be when I got there. Silence isn't peace. In my pocket, the keys cut into my palm, and the sentence I never said to my wife rose up, simple and ugly. I should have come sooner. I swallowed it. I always swallowed it. If these nights feel familiar, stay with this series, subscribe, or share it with someone who keeps saying later. What word are you avoiding reading in your house? Back in the kitchen, I slid the mug aside and read 1 word on the label, anniversary. Morning found me at the kitchen table with 1 plate in front of me. I set a second plate down out of habit, then pulled it back like the ceramic was hot. The kettle clicked once. A spoon clinked at the sink. Too loud. The house doesn't answer. No one says my name first. I slid the mug away and stared at anniversary. Under it, the label edge was soft from fingers, the ink smudged in 1 corner. I kept my voice down, like my wife might be sleeping. I told myself I'd read the next line after I cleared the mail, after I rinsed the cup, after I sat down. Later, later, later. At the mailbox slot, coupons and a hospital reminder bent in my hands. I never miss those. So why did my wife hide this under the mug? What ordinary plan was I too late to keep? I opened the closet. My wife's cardigan hung there. A hanger squeaked. Dust smelled like winter. I touched the sleeve. Fabric rustled. The kettle clicked from the kitchen. It sounded like permission. A pipe ticked in the wall. I pulled the cardigan down, folded once, twice too fast, then unfolded to smooth the cuffs. I shut the closet door, then opened it again, because the empty space felt louder than the hallway. Wrong hands. Too careful. The house doesn't answer. No one says my name first. Rule I made. If I can't breathe, I finish 1 thing, 1 cup, 1 button, 1 page. 10 seconds. Then I decide. I laid the cardigan on her chair like she'd be back after 1 phone call. Back at the mug, I slid the label out. Anniversary the 14th of May 2012. Call the diner. 2 pancakes. No excuses. My throat tightened. That wasn't a reminder. It was a date I'd already walked past. Kettle clicked once as I faced the bathroom mirror. The faucet drip kept time. I set my wedding ring into the dish, then moved it to the other side, like a small correction could steady the day. Too bright, too alone. I rinsed my hands, then held the ring again. I asked myself the question that finally stopped the later loop. What is the smallest thing I can finish today that proves I'm still here? The house didn't answer. No one says my name first. I folded a washcloth the way my wife liked edges square and promised I'd follow the label. Call the diner. I reached for my phone. I opened the drawer where she kept spare cords. Empty, just dust inside. The battery was dead, and I couldn't remember her charger's code. The grocery aisle smelled like citrus cleaner and cold air. A cart wheel squeaked. Somewhere in my head, the kettle clicked one sharp little sound that didn't belong here. I held my list against the handle and crossed off 2 things, then stopped. Too much room. My wife's handwriting sat on the bottom line, tight loops, gentle slant next to my blocky letters. Proof she'd planned to come, or wanted me to act like she still did. I reached for a second jar out of habit, then put it back. 1 is enough. The house doesn't answer. At the end cap, plain napkins leaned beside a small bottle of syrup. 2 pancakes, no excuses. My thumb hovered over my phone. The screen lit my knuckles, pale and accusing again. No one says my name first. I didn't call. Not yet. I just stood there with the syrup, realizing the diner was 5 minutes away. I sat in my car at night, engine off, phone light on my thumb. The turn signal ticked, forgotten. In my head, the kettle clicked once, like a latch. I opened the missed call log and stared at the last number I'd never returned. My finger hit dial. 1 ring. 2. I hung up. Too fast. Too familiar. No one says my name first. I rehearsed a sentence I couldn't send. I found her label, and I'm sorry I waited. The words felt too heavy for a screen, so I typed nothing. I breathed into the steering wheel, smelling old fabric and winter air, and watched my hands shake less. When I walked back inside, the hallway was dark. I locked the door behind me. On the counter, a tiny red voicemail light blinked steady, stubborn as if it had been waiting since the night she didn't come home. Morning at the diner smelled like grease and coffee. My cup tapped the saucer when my hand trembled. In my head, the kettle clicked once, back home, a sound that always arrived without asking. I ordered 1 plate. I watched the empty seat across from me. Too open, too quiet. The house doesn't answer, even when I'm not in it. No one says my name first. The server slid the receipt under my mug. I folded it, then unfolded it, then folded it again, like paper could teach my fingers what to do next. On the back was a short note in my wife's handwriting, just a line, dated, like she'd planned this breakfast ahead of my grief. I didn't read it out loud. Not yet. I put the receipt in my wallet and chose 1 purposeful act for today, something small, something final before I let later touch it. I sat on the porch with the door cracked open, letting cold air in. Wind moved the leaves in the yard. Inside, the kettle clicked once, small and final, like it was calling me back to my own hands. I balanced the calendar on my knee and tore off 1 page. Clean rip. Too clean. I almost threw it away, then I folded it and kept it in my coat pocket like a permit to keep going. The house doesn't answer. No one says my name first. Rule I made, written on that torn page. When my body reaches for the second thing, I pause for 10 seconds and name what I'm doing out loud. Mug, spoon, plate. Then I choose 1 deliberate act, not autopilot. The receipt note stayed unread in my wallet. Tonight, when my fingers go for the second mug, I'll test the rule. The stairwell smelled like concrete and old paint. My footsteps echoed, slow and careful. Behind my ribs, I heard it again, the kettle click, back in the kitchen, like a door latching. I reached into my coat pocket for the familiar shape of my wife's spare key. Empty. Just lint and cold air. Too late. Too quiet. The house doesn't answer. No one says my name first. I stood between floors with my hand still inside that pocket, pretending I was searching for something real. My fingers found nothing, and somehow that was the point. I leaned on the rail, breathed once, and asked the question that changed me. What am I protecting when I keep choosing later? The answer didn't come like comfort. It came like a task. I walked back inside, set one mug down, then, for the first time in days, I placed a second mug beside it. Kettle clicked once as the TV flickered on by itself, autoplay in the dark kitchen. I grabbed the remote, thumbed mute. The refrigerator hummed low behind me, steady as always. Silence. Street light stripes lay across the floor like thin bars. Too bright. I sat in my wife's chair for one breath, then stood, then sat again. The house doesn't answer. No one says my name first. In my pocket was the folded calendar page, 10 seconds. Mug, spoon, chair. I named them out loud, embarrassed at my own voice. Then I finally said the sentence I'd been swallowing since the funeral. I miss you. Plain, no speech. I took a napkin from the drawer and wrote one line in block letters. 2 pancakes, no excuses. I set it under the second mug, the way my wife set things for me. That night I slept, and still one thing was unfinished. Morning was quiet, but it wasn't cruel. The kettle clicked once, and I let it. Light came through the blinds in soft stripes, not bars. I stood at the counter and read my own napkin note like it belonged to someone I was learning to care for. 2 mugs sat side by side. I didn't flinch. I took the receipt from my wallet and turned it over. My wife's handwriting was smaller than I remembered, but it was real. A date, a tiny instruction, a love that sounded like errands. If you ever eat here alone, order for 2. Bring the extra home. Don't let the house win. The house doesn't answer, but I can. I folded the note and slid it into the calendar on May 14, where it had always meant to live. Then I asked myself one last question. What would I do today if later was banned? I picked up the second mug and took it to the sink.